Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, their firms, and their clients. And let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Alicia Morgan of Immigration Lawyers USA and is located in Miami, Florida. Welcome, Alicia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. So tell us about your firm. Tell us how you came to the law.
So I decided at a young age that I wanted to help people. So I think I was in the 7th grade when I figured out I wanted to be a lawyer. But when I started to study Spanish was when I realized I wanted to help immigrants and the Hispanic population. So that was one of my emphasis in law school was immigration law.
And did you always have that as a principal focus of your practice?
Yeah, pretty much. I did start out my first couple of years. I started at a firm that I knew in Kentucky that I had already worked at, and they let me take kind of a Hispanic practice. So I was doing a little bit of, insurance defense and workers' comp things, but geared towards the Hispanic community. And I also did immigration, but I didn't have a great immigration mentor. So that's when I decided, I remember I was doing my first immigration hearing. I was calling a guy in Atlanta to guide me through what was going to happen at the immigration hearing. And I realized I needed better mentorship. So that's when I decided to move to Texas and take my first only immigration job. So since about 2010 on, I've only been practicing immigration.
And working with the Hispanic community, how does that differ? Does it differ at all? What are the particular components to that might be different from other forms?
Well, here in Miami, I represent all immigrants, so it's not only Hispanics, but there's a large Hispanic population. So just understanding their different cultural differences and being able to speak the language. I also speak Portuguese, but I'm able to talk to them. And I have lived in Latin America for a period of time, so I also have experienced some of the culture. But basically just understanding some of the difficulties that they're facing and being able to meet them on their level and try to identify with them and understand what they're going through as I try to keep families together and reunite the ones that have been separated.
And tell us about a story where you went above and beyond.
So I'm thinking about a family that I met in 2014. So it was right around the time I was starting my own law firm. And the woman met me through a friend, and basically she was in shambles at the time because her husband had just left the country, and he was inside the country lawfully at first, but then he went out of status, and he left because he was a fisherman in Canada, and he had no idea when he left that he was going to be separated from his wife by what was a 10-year punishment for the fact that he had triggered a bar. Basically, if you've come inside the United States and you stay over a year and then you leave, you have a 10-year punishment. And he had no idea about that. They had no idea until they spoke to me that basically what we're facing is a 10-year punishment. So when I spoke to them, I calmed them down. I said, well, here's a plan. Let's form this plan. We did the family petition and we were going to work on a waiver for them. But in the process of filing the waiver, working on the paperwork to show that their family was suffering separated, because in this case, they already had 2 kids and she became pregnant while he was outside the country. So they were working on their 3rd child at that point. Basically, there was a hiccup in the fact that they didn't have a financial sponsor to help them. So the breadwinner for the family was the husband, who's the fisherman, and he wasn't eligible to support himself as he needed a financial sponsor to get the green card, and his wife wasn't working because she had to take care of the children. So usually a family member steps in. Typically, it's common that if you have a U.S. citizen spouse, right, that their parents are going to help. That's what is the most common thing that happens. But in this situation, her mother had passed away, and her father was unwilling to help him. And so we came across many obstacles, and it was years that I had to keep the family basically with hope, just let them know, we're going to find a way, you're going to get a better job, or someone's going to, something's going to happen to, change your father's mind. But basically it was, I think, 5 more years of working with them, eventually the wife did get a better job. And what was kind of interesting, and I guess you would say maybe fate, is that by that point it had been 9 years. So they had already had a fourth child. So she was going every year to see him in Canada with the children, but they had 4 children at that point. And by that point, we figured out that it wasn't even going to be worth it to file the waiver because they're almost to the 10-year point. So one thing that you have to do when you're dealing with a family petition case and they're doing the paperwork abroad is that every year you have to be in touch with the National Visa Center or they'll close their case. So I was every year contacting the government saying, don't give up on this case. Don't give up on this family. They're going to be reunited. So thank God, finally, when we finished the paperwork, by the time he got the interview, he didn't need a waiver because the time had already passed. He already did his punishment, if you will, the 10 years. But it was basically a journey for me and that family to stay in touch and to keep the hope alive, because
absolutely. And you were there to help guide them throughout that whole process. So
yes.
Again, just so folks know, this is Alicia Morgan of Immigration Lawyers USA, and Alicia is located in Miami, Florida. Alicia, for those that want to get in touch with you, can you share with us your phone number twice?
I can. It's 305-501-0783. 305-501-0783.
And how else do folks get in touch with you?
You can find us online, but you can actually use that same number, 305-501-0783, to reach us on WhatsApp. A lot of my clients prefer to contact us that way. And you can find us online at www.immigrationlawyersusa.com.
Gotcha. This has been the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond on behalf of their clients. If you're an attorney or know one that might be interested for this, please feel free to reach out to us at 914-666-6600. Number again, 914-666-6600. Alicia, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Take care.